One, this is Lawrence Watkins with the Black Financial Channel. Welcome to another episode of the Great Black Speakers Podcast. And today, our very special guest is Miss Tonya Robertson. Tonya is the founder and CEO of Focus Training Solutions. Focus Training Solutions is a company that creates learning tools designed to optimize employee performance in the workplace. And today, we're talking about how Black employees can perform exceptionally on the job. So, Tonya, how are you doing today?
Hi, Lawrence. I'm well. How are you?
I am doing excellent, doing excellent. Very happy to have you on board today. So, for the audience, can you tell them a little bit about Focus Training Solutions and how you've gotten to this point in your career of running this company?
Absolutely. So, what Lawrence said, Focus Training Solutions is a firm that provides learning solutions to help employees really optimize their performance in the workplace. And so, the whole concept of Focus Training Solutions was birthed very early on when I became a teenage mother many years ago. And so, it was in that moment when many people said lots of bad things to me. They spoke negatively about my future. And so during that time, I knew that I wanted to create something so magical and so big, but I didn't exactly know what that thing was. So there's that. And I'm going to tie it into something else. So I'm a Southern girl. So I was raised by my grandparents, and I grew up in a house, it was full of love. However, there was no verbal exchanges of I love you, no hugs. It was just understood that you're loved just because you see people going to work to make sure that you have the basic necessities, just, housing, water, and such. So you knew you were loved. So when you couple the becoming a teenage mom early in life along with my upbringing, I personally felt that I had no voice because that wasn't particularly modeled before me. We were a very easygoing family. We avoided confrontation at all costs. We didn't have certain conversations. So my inner voice, I felt, was suppressed. So you take that child grows into a teenager, that teenager grows into an adult, and that adult lands in the workplace. Okay. And so being in the workplace, feeling voiceless and not knowing how to appropriately convey my messages, not knowing how to advocate for myself. When Focus Training Solutions was created, I felt the need to just lean in towards the needs, particularly the learning needs of the employees, and advocate on their behalf, because just because you're that employee that sits in the back of the room or doesn't always raise your hand and share ideas and lead, that doesn't mean you're a bad employee at all. But so with Focus Training Solutions, what we do is challenge the employer to lean into the needs of the employee, like I mentioned, particularly in the area of learning and development, to really find out what their learning needs are, how they learn. And so just creating tools to satisfy those specific needs.
That's interesting. So, what's your value proposition to employers to do so in terms of finding out the needs of the employees? Like, how do they benefit as a company by doing what you ask of them?
That is a great question, Lauren. So, I mean, the benefit is huge. And sometimes I would say that some employers get it and some don't. But I think of it as like a domino effect. And like an initiative, a learning initiative that waves in and out of the organization. So everything that an organization does, learning is and development has to flow through it. You cannot escape that. So that's the overarching value proposition. Then you have, retaining great talent and just establishing a culture of learning and development that is critical. It impacts your bottom line when your employees are not trained properly. So there's a lot of value, that the employers stand to gain from ensuring that those needs, those learning needs for the employee are developed, and understanding that learning is not always a one size fits all.
What are some of the sizes in terms of learning? So what are, I guess, some of the things that you see employees actually need to learn better in terms of doing their job and maybe even having more confidence? And I guess that's another thing. What do they actually need to learn? So there we go. So what do employees actually need to learn? And then what are some of the sizes in terms of how do you transfer different skill sets to the actual employee?
Okay, so to the first question, what do they need to learn? So that could actually vary by industry, but I think that for the most part, I equate that, Lawrence, to actually dating. So again, I always slightly push the onus back on the employer, because I feel like the employer kind of gives the employee a thing, a learning thing, and it's like good riddance. Learn it, do it, catch you later. If you can't, I'll write you up and on to the next person. So, and I probably skipped over your question, but I'll circle back. So just from that dating aspect, looking at it as dating, when you date someone, you really want to know what their needs are, what they like, what they dislike. And the same is true, should be true for that employee-employer relationship, really understanding what they need. So like I said, it could vary by industry just based on, what they need to learn. Sometimes processes change within a business, and the employees need to be just trained on what's going on. Refresher trainings are always good as well.
Yeah, I mean, I'm thinking about that in terms of, I guess, human capital, right? And you put I'm thinking about even our business, and our most important or our most expensive asset is human capital in terms of the
Yes.
people who actually work for us. And if human capital is only operating at 50% capacity, so they're doing X amount of work, and they could be doing two or three X amount of work with just a little bit more training and nurturing. Why wouldn't I guess company go about doing that? Yeah. So I guess I would look at it as a potential employer in a couple of different ways. I guess one would be, let's say, soft skills training, and I want to get to a little bit deeper, and then some of the hard skills training too, in terms of actually how to do a particular job. I want to, I guess, transition a little bit to that soft skills standpoint though, because earlier in the interview you mentioned yourself and others who may feel like they did not have a voice when they first entered the workplace. So can you talk about that? Can you talk about that a little deeper in terms of your experience and if you felt that way of not having a voice, and then how did you go about finding your voice working, as an employee for a company?
Exactly. Great question, Lawrence. So yes, for many years I felt that way, and it wasn't until I think I would say over the last decade, I began to challenge myself and challenge the norms and begin to take more risk, and just understanding that I am responsible for changing the trajectory for my family future. And so with, I feel like, business ownership comes certain risks that you have to take. Stepping out in the forefront and taking charge and taking lead. So many times it was uncomfortable, but once I knew for sure that focus training solutions was definitely going to be the thing. I had to just honestly get uncomfortable and, get out of my own head and just wash those negative thoughts away that I carried with me for so very long, and changed the way that I viewed a lot of stinking thinking, if you will. Yes.
So everyone, we're here with Tonya Robertson. Tonya is the founder and CEO of Focus Training Solutions. It is a company that creates learning tools designed to optimize employee performance in the workplace. You can find out more about her company at focusedtrainingsolutions.com. That's focusedtrainingsolutions.com. If you all like this interview, please make sure you press the thumbs up button. Please make sure you share and subscribe to the Black Financial Channel if you'd like to receive more financial content like the content that we're producing today here with Tonya. Tonya, let's talk about the audience that's listening today in terms of performing better on the job. So, what are your, I guess, top 1 to 3 tips in terms of what they can do today to start performing better at their workplace?
I'd say don't, I'm going to say the opposite of what I did. Lean in, ask questions, show up, be vocal. If there are meetings that you're involved in, don't leave out of that meeting unless you ask the question or just added some type of value. Even if it's something you already know, ask the question again. Ask for clarification, but let your voice be heard. That's one. And I'd say show up and be authentically you, whatever that is. And if that is, if that job does not provide a space for you to be authentically you, then I'd say on to the next or create your own space. That's 2. And let's see, the third tip, I'd say take risk. Definitely take risk. If you have ideas, share them with your employer and just see where it lands. Any new ideas or opportunities, don't be afraid to share those ideas. Just in a risky way, I'd say, with your employer.
Yeah, well, let's talk about risk a little bit more in regards to um, you know, a lot of individuals who are watching today may work for, let's say, Fortune 500 or corporations, these really large, massive types of corporations where the status quo is to actually not take that risk. Because there's, I guess, a level of fear that if they take that risk and things go well or go wrong, then they will be severely punished or they will be looked over and passed over for future opportunities to show their actual worth to the company. What would you say to a person that says, you know what, Tonya, I would really like to take a risk. I have this great idea that I want to share, but I just don't know if it's worth it. I don't know if it's worth, upsetting the status quo to, see if my idea is going to be worth it and is valuable to the company. So what would you say to that person in regards to helping them to get over that hump and take that risk?
Absolutely. So I would definitely tell them if you can't bet on yourself, then don't expect for anyone else to do that. You have to conjure up the confidence again to step into your power and to execute. And if you're wanting a powerful future, if you're wanting to take your life down a different path, you have to, you must definitely gather the confidence to be able to proceed in the direction in which you desire. And fear has no place in progression, especially in life, as far as life is concerned, and business and the working force.
Sorry. What are some of the things that people can do to, I guess, manufacture that confidence, whether it's real or imagined, right? Like imagine in terms of, like having that confidence for a very short period of time to get through today and get through, this next idea. But more broadly, to manufacture that confidence so that they just know who they are, within the workplace as well. So what are things that people can do to move towards decisions that show more confidence within themselves and their abilities?
Right. So mirror work, from what I hear, and it's one of the things that I often suggest to some employees, role playing and doing scenarios in the mirror, as crazy as it may sound to some. But it allows one the confidence to kind of play out a situation in their mind beforehand. So mirror work, definitely. And I'd say if you have a mentor or someone that you can definitely partner with or meet with from time to time and talk about the challenges that you have, I definitely suggest a mentor.
All right, everyone, just as a reminder, I'm here with Tonya Robertson. Tonya is the founder and CEO of Focus Training Solutions, a company that creates learning tools designed to optimize employee performance in the workplace. You can find out more about her business at focustrainingsolutions.com. That's focustrainingsolutions.com. So please make sure that you like, share, and subscribe to the Black Financial channel, and we really appreciate you for doing so. Tonya, let's talk about leadership and followership a little bit more, because that's something that you mentioned a little bit earlier as well, in regards to, one, becoming a good leader, but you don't have to be in the forefront to actually lead. But that also makes me think about, what does it look like for one to be a good follower as well, and a valuable independent contributor in a followership type of role at a company. So can you talk about that a little bit more too?
Yes, so being a valuable, just let me be sure I understood you correctly. So being a great follower, per se?
Yeah, exactly.
Okay. Yes, so I mean, and that's equally as important as well, because everyone cannot be a leader. There needs to be followers as well. And so with followers, there's the implementation of different tasks, and there's a lot of creativity that goes into that, in which one that is a follower can exhibit leadership qualities and adding your own flavor and your creativity to different projects when you create them. I definitely think that that's one of the ways in which you can just innovatively dominate your area of being a great follower, sharing ideas with other colleagues. Yes. I think those definitely, in my experience, from what I've seen and working with businesses, and even my role in the government space. Yes, so that is very, very important.
I keep muting myself, excuse me. So for the audience who wants to use your services, how can they get in touch with you and follow you on social media, that type of thing as well?
Absolutely. So I'm at Focus Training Solutions on Facebook, Instagram, as well as LinkedIn. And also you can visit my website, www.focustrainingsolutions.com. And we're also having a webinar tomorrow for anyone that may be interested. It's 5 secrets to transform your online courses in order to increase that employee productivity, which is key in all business spaces. So you can go to my Facebook page or any of the social media outlets and register for that webinar, but that's how you can find us and learn more about our services.
Wonderful. So with our interviews, we always end with our famous 5 questions. So these are 5 rapid fire questions, and please answer them to the best of your ability.
Okay.
All right. So number 1, what is your favorite business book of all time?
Okay. Most recently, it's Uncloned Marketing. By Richmond.
Yep, Audrey. Yep.
Yes. So that's been a phenomenal book for me. Just in that it's like an ABC step-by-step guide. Can't go wrong. You follow the processes. It's very simple. But it's great. It is great for marketing.
Okay, yeah, you're maybe the second or third person who recommended that book. So I think I'm going to go finally pick that up today. So shout out to Audrey Richmond with an excellent book, an excellent marketing campaign around her book as well. So she really practices what she preaches.
Absolutely, yes.
Number 2, are there any CEOs or companies that you're currently following that you would like to emulate and, I guess, incorporate into what you're doing with Focus Training Solutions?
I really like Lisa Nichols. I love her transparency, and we share some similar stories, and so that's why I think I resonate towards her stories. But I have an appreciation for her storytelling and just some of the foundations that she and beliefs that she relies on as it pertains to building her business, and that confidence piece, yes, is really strong. And like I said, I've leaned on her many times throughout business just to get me through. So yes, Lisa Nichols is.
All right, so Lisa Nichols, that's another great answer. So number three, um, who is your favorite historical figure from Black history?
Um, Maya Angelou. Yes, yes, I love her. Um, her the power in her voice when she speaks, it just does something to me. Probably because I felt the opposite growing up. I just feel like she just exudes so much power. Just when she says something, you just want to stand still and give all your attention to what she's saying. So Maya Angelou, it is.
Okay. Number four, how many hours of sleep do you get at night?
That actually varies. So I'm usually the one that needs 8 to 9 hours of sleep, or
I
else
heard you on
you
that.
do not want to have anything to do with me. Sleep and food. But just here lately, because there's really an emphasis on building my business and just making sure that everything's set in the right direction as far as wealth building for the family. It's been anywhere between 4 and 5 hours.
Yeah, that's quite extensive, or that's quite little bit of
Mhm.
sleep that you're getting right now. But that's times in every entrepreneur life where they might have to go through something like that. So
Yes.
all right, well then my last question is, if you can go back in time and speak to your 20-year-old self, what advice would you give her?
Uh, that's a good one, Lawrence. But I think what's most personable to me is to not let anyone else define your life. Yes. So there's so many people that oftentimes people will say, you should do this, do that, don't do this. And, we listen, we're guilty of listening. And so I'd say, don't let other people do that. Find what it is that you want to do and do it.
Love it. Tonya, thank you so much for your time today. So, everyone, we've been here with Tonya Robertson. Tonya is the founder and CEO of Focus Training Solutions. It's a company that creates learning tools designed to optimize employee performance in the workplace. You can find out more about her business at focusedtrainingsolutions.com. That's focusedtrainingsolutions.com. And today we've been talking about how Black employees can perform exceptionally on the job. So before you get out of here, please make sure that you press the thumbs up button, make sure you share and subscribe to the Black Financial Channel. And we appreciate you. So on behalf of Tonya, my name is Lawrence Watkins. You all take care, be blessed, and have a wonderful day. All right, bye-bye.